In just its second year, the Kids Foundation Tour de Horse has raised over $1 million for the kids, and this year the thoroughbred industry has had a real buy-in. The gruelling 200-kilometre ride covers up and down all the hills, and that's what this guy, including a lot of our other retired racehorses, have done this week. This is 1111, the former Magic Millions specialist, all culminating in riding down the straight at Scone. Well, Suze, tell us all about the Kids Foundation.
Okay, so the Kids Foundation is 32 years old, and we look after young people that have been in trauma and injury incidents. So we've got young people that have been in car accidents, house fires, sadly survivors of abuse and neglect, and actually 1/3 of our young people have been injured by a parent. So it's traumatic when they come, but then we give them the opportunity to have a beautiful life. Being a teacher, I was concerned about the number of children that are injured in Australia every day. There's 5,000 children that go to an emergency department of a hospital every day in Australia. And so I put together a program which is a injury prevention and health and wellbeing program that now runs in 10,000 preschools and kindergartens across Australia. And in 2021, we actually printed 465,000 books that went out to children between the ages of 4 and 6. And that was also helped with the COVID period when young people weren't able to socialise in the normal way. So they're the two really important things that we do.
And create a family, that's the biggest sense that I found this week.
Absolutely. So when people that have come from a traumatic situation, and if it is their family that's put them in that situation, then it's not just about the trauma and the injury, but it's also about losing their family, because they have a family that they thought they trusted and loved, and they've lost that. So their sense of purpose is really quite different from before, and the sense of belonging. So what we've found within 2 days of being part of the program, they will say, I'm part of a new family.
I can't describe the feeling, and I've only been here a couple of days, but the feeling that has come over all of us here, seeing this, experiencing this, it changes you. You don't go back, do you?
Absolutely not. And to think that we've got, I think, about 14 young people here, and one of our camps we have 160. So you can imagine everyone has a story. They're all unique, but there are common situations where the young people can share with the person that's been in a similar situation, and that helps them not only to move forward and see that there's a future, but it also gives them hope, and they think, I can do this. And then to have the security and support around them, I think that's the special thing about the Kids Foundation family.
So I was burnt in a car fire at the age of 3, and I was flown to the Royal Children's Hospital, where I stayed there for 3.5 months. Most of that was in intensive care. I had all sort of apparatuses breathing for me and helping me live, essentially. It got to a certain point where my parents actually were told by the doctors if you would want to say goodbye, and recommended taking me off life support because I was not doing well, and they recommended I wouldn't have a very good quality of life. It was hard growing up. The hardest part is kids make it known that you look different. You kind of know that you look different, and you can't do as many of the things that you kind of want to do, and that caused me to be very shy and closed off, and I wouldn't like to go out. I wouldn't even like to go to the shops. I just basically went to school and home, and that's about it, sort of thing, until I found the Kids Foundation when I was 10 years old. Went to my very first camp. So they run a camp for back at that time they ran a camp for burn survivors, and it was just a huge eye-opener for me, a huge breath of fresh air. I found my people, essentially. I realised that I was not the only one burnt. I thought that I was the only one burnt, and that's why I fell so deep into myself. I just closed myself off. But seeing all these people live their life and move on from their trauma is what helped me grow out of mine. So I started going out more, doing stuff with friends, doing more extracurricular activities. I'm an ambassador for the Kids Foundation, and I'm a bit of a mentor as well to the younger survivors that we have come on our camps. And it's just so good to see that repeat action that I got. It's so good to help and facilitate that as well and help them grow into whoever they want to be, basically.
And how did Tour de Horse come about?
Well, that sort of came about by a sad situation. In 2021, sadly, my granddaughter passed away, and her older sister, Nellie, who's on the ride, said, "Nan, come for a horse ride." Now, I hadn't been on a horse for 35 years and I was petrified, but I thought, yes, I do want to go and go with her, and her mum came as well. And we went for this beautiful ride, and when we got back, we just all felt so much better. And I said to the girls, imagine if we brought this, equine therapy and equine assisted learning and experiences into the foundation, what it could do for the young people. And so went back and we started doing equine assisted learning, and it just grew from there. And then one day, happened to be at Mel's place, and Tour de Cure came across, and years ago we used to fundraise through bike rides, and I thought our world now evolves around horses, why don't we do something with horses? So I jumped up, rang the accountant and said, would you register Tour de Horse? We did it that day and rang Hamish McLaughlin, who sits on our board, and I said, Ham, I've got this idea, what do you think about it? He said, Susie, you're using retired racehorses in your therapies and your programs, why don't you get the industry engaged? We wanted a horse that would go on the tour and could lead the tour, and we found out from Greg Hickman that they had a horse coming off the track, and the horse had won Magic Millions 3 times, had won $3.23 million in prize money, and we thought, yes, this would be wonderful. And then when we found out his name was 1111, my granddaughter actually passed away at 1111. And so we thought, this is the horse for us, and he has been an absolute dream on this ride. And this year, I know I think we're 20,000 off $1 million, so we've doubled the money in the second year. And that means that we'll reach about 300,000 children in Australia this year from that money.
Anto, tell us all about Beltrees and what happens here.
It was first established in 1832. In its heyday, it was 230,000 acres. So we went from here all the way up to Elliston, that is owned by the Packers, and it was all sheep. They shore 186,000 sheep in its heyday in the shed up there. 42 shearers with the blades, but today it's nothing like that. So it's over the generations, it's decreased in size, and Beltrees today is roughly 4,500 acres.
We're all here for the Tour de Horse for the kids, and also because you retrained for Team Thoroughbred.
Yeah, well, after the drought I said to my son Alec, we need to do something else other than look after cattle. So we went to Racing New South Wales and said, we're available, and we got a contract for 20 horses at a time. And Susie wanted retrained thoroughbreds for the Tour de Horse to get all the thoroughbred studs and the thoroughbred industry involved, and that's how really I got to meet Susie and get involved in the Tour de Horse.
And you've obviously had a bit to do with the Kids Foundation now. What's it like seeing them come out here and enjoy this week?
No, well, I love the kids. They're inspirational. I mean, when you hear their stories and what's happened to them, and then they just talk. I mean, they've got so much ability. They're fantastic. And obviously, it's all come through these camps where they see kids like for like, and they just gain confidence, and they are seriously amazing. And I get very emotional. I'm an emotional person, but when I see these kids, I can't do enough for them.
When we sit together and we share stories, I can't explain to you what it starts to mean, like the emotion that it evokes. And the more stories I hear, the more amazing I realise Susie is. Not just Susie, but everybody involved, and the changes it's making to the kids and their families. I think that every first world issue that I ever whinge about pales in comparison, and the real things start to be evident of what matters in life. So it's an incredible, privilege to be involved.
Being a part of the Kids Foundation is fantastic. It's something that is really special to me. What it embodies really resonates with me. Having a spinal cord injury, a lot of the help and support that I received was from other people in a similar situation. So seeing how the kids have the camps where they're around other kids that know exactly what they've gone through. I know how important that is, that nobody can really help you and understand you like someone who's been through exactly the same thing.
It's been really eye-opening, I think. It's, I had heard a lot about it last year. Obviously we had a team and one of the girls at work rode for the week, but I don't think I've probably recognised just how big of an impact the kids do have on you. I mean, every day has been, to be honest, quite emotional. You hear the stories each night, and it's been amazing. Kid Tyler, he's got the horse, well, he purchased the horse that I'm riding, and so I've spent a bit of time with him, hearing about his story specifically, and he's got SMA, which is it's like a muscle dystrophy, and he was diagnosed when he was 2. He was told he wouldn't walk past 10, and he was told he wouldn't live past 40, and he's 16, doing everything he can. He's still walking around. He's very active, and his outlook on life, I think it puts everything into perspective. We sit there and complain about pretty meaningless things, and hearing how grateful he is to be able to live a relatively normal life and make the most of everything that he's doing every day, quickly made me realise that life's pretty good. Everyone that runs this farm, they put some work into these horses, and giving them all a second chance at life, really. Some of them are pretty slow racehorses when you go through their form, but they're living a great life out here, and it's a great program.
It's a great experience, and you learn something about the foundation as you go, and it's amazing to see what they've managed to do with the retraining of the thoroughbred horses here. It's been fantastic. I mean, it's obviously a hot topic. The welfare of horses and life after racing is a matter of crucial importance to our industry. It's a process that has to be managed very well, and to see and experience what's being done here with a huge volume of horses is incredibly impressive. We rode in groups of thoroughbred horses around the farm, and the horses are incredibly tractable, very enjoyable to ride. So, on so many levels, it's been a fantastic experience.
How of the horses, we talk about this is something that the Kids Foundation have been doing more of with the equine therapy. Have you seen changes in the kids when they're around the horses?
Horses are very mirrored in our actions and emotions and stuff too. So to have that kind of reflect back at you causes you to think, oh, I'm actually a little bit anxious in the moment, even though I may not feel it. And I think it causes them to be grounded and just be in the moment and be who they are in the moment and be honest with themselves and how they're feeling within the moment. And I think that it's just an added thing that just helps bring someone closer or more into who they want to be and who they actually are.